Welcome back, everybody. Well, from time to time, we really like to bring in experts in the different categories of the things that all of us face by living in this part of the world that we've chosen to live in. And one of them, of course, is how windows in our homes affect everything from our energy costs to just our lifestyle. And so we looked around and found an expert. Eric Minkiewicz is the president, CEO of Renewal by Andersen of Eastern New York. Now, of course, you know the Andersen window name because that's one of the biggest brands in the world, and for good reason. So I asked Eric to come on to talk about some of the things that we face and some of the things that he faces every day in terms of that category of windows and window replacement. So first, Eric, welcome. Great to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I set this up by saying we live in one of the more unusual parts of the world. We go from -20 in the dead of winter to 100 in the summer and everything in between, and that raises heck with our windows in our homes. From your perspective, let's start there. Okay. Tell me about this.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the winter. I mean, it has been quite a winter that we just went through. And winter is the time where people really notice problems with their windows or doors, or even with products, general products around their home.
Yeah, sure.
With windows and doors, people feel the pain in the winter. They feel the cold, they feel the drafts. They see the high energy bills every month when they have to write that check. So it's when they experience the problem as winter. But the reality is, we are in this part of the country that has huge swings in temperatures, as you mentioned earlier. I mean, this winter, we were in the negative territory, probably more than any other winter in recent history.
Yeah, that's true.
The amount of snow that we get. In the summertime, it's not uncommon for us to have several 100-degree days. 90-degree days are commonplace, right? So where you have these extremes in cooling and heating, and elements that hit the house, you have the sun, you have the wind, the rain, the drying, the snow, the ice. All of these things impact your home, right? And homes are made up of a lot of different types of products. They're made up of siding, which can be made of vinyl, wood, aluminum, wood, asphalt for roofs, vinyl, glass, metal. So all of these products are susceptible to elements, right? And when the elements hit these products, they do different things. They react differently. They expand, they contract, and the elements cause products to wear down around the house, right? So typically with windows, that's what people experience, right? Houses settle, right? They move,
yes, right, sure,
and windows can get out of square, right? Out of alignment. Also, the materials in the windows can expand and contract. You have windows that are made of a lot of different materials: wood, metal, aluminum, vinyl, composite materials. So all of these materials, and glass, I forgot to mention,
sure.
right? But all of these materials, they expand and contract at different rates. And when things like that happen, like with vinyl, for instance, when vinyl expands and contracts, it expands and contracts at a different rate than the glass.
Yes.
And when that happens, you can get breaks in the seals of the glass units, which leads to fogging in glass, which is one of the most common things that we hear from people. Their windows fogged up, right? Well, a lot of that is due to the expansion and contraction that happens because of the hot summers, the cold winters, and the breakdown of those materials. And
well, in talking about windows of your home, it's also one of the things that if you are a homeowner, you want to make certain that your windows are up to date. You want to make certain it's a feature that builds the asset of the home as well, right? I've looked at many homes that I'm sure our viewers have. You go to look at a home and you look at the windows, and if they look like they're from the 60s or the 70s, or they're made out of vinyl or then aluminum, which tends to be even somewhat corrosive, and the screens don't operate properly, the glass is not thermal glass. There are a lot of issues there when you're either buying or selling a home that's important to take a look at. And assuming that you love your home, you you go out and you notice that, okay, I made a mistake 5 years ago. 6 years ago, I put vinyl windows in. They're subject to all the things that you just talked about. A big word out there now is composite. Talk to me a bit about why that's a good investment, why that's a good idea to go down the composite route.
Yeah, sure. Composites are good for a number of reasons. You mentioned resale value of the home, right? And that's an important thing that people have to consider when replacing their windows. Replacing windows isn't always a glamorous thing to do around the home, right? People are like to do new shiny kitchens and new bathrooms.
Swimming pool,
yeah,
right.
Right. But when you get down to it, when you're going to sell that home and you're looking to sell it, you know, people look at the windows because it's a general maintenance item, and let's face it, people don't always like to replace their windows. It's like, you know, they don't want to have to call the window company. They'd rather do the kitchen or the bath.
Yes, right, sure.
But the reality is when a seller comes in to buy it, replacing the windows is one of the, we've been told this by realtors, is one of the most common things that people look at and say, you know what, we're going to give you an offer of X dollars less because it needs all new windows, right?
All new windows.
And it's one of the things that detract from that. So,
right. You know, another thing too, we live in a part of the world where not everything is just new home developments. A lot of beautiful homes that you pay respect to the architecture of the home. Well, a lot of those homeowners just don't want to slap any kind of window in there. There are considerations about how it looks. The house may not be completely square after all this time. Color selections, how it blends in with the architecture of the home. I mean, these are considerations also for where we live, right?
Absolutely, right. And you mentioned the composite too, right? So there's a lot of different materials that can, you know, windows can be made of, right? Wood is one of them, and traditionally wood windows perform very well. They're very stable, you know, they don't expand and contract a lot, but because they're wood, they wear down over time, right? So you have a lot of maintenance associated with wood products, you know, and over time they get to stick, so you can't open the windows as easy as you once could.
Yeah, I can tell you this firsthand.
Oh, you have wood windows? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, wooden windows in an older home. Yeah. You bang on them, you know, hope you don't break the glass, you know, try to get them open. Yeah. It's really true.
Aluminum windows are very stable as well, but the problem is they conduct heat, you know, so they're obviously not a very energy efficient solution. Vinyl windows are probably the least stable of all you know, window categories because they expand and contract so much, you know, and it's probably the reason why we replace so many vinyl windows that are not even 5 to 10 years old in homes, you know. So where the composites come in, and you know, Renewal by Andersen, we sell a composite window. It's not the only composite window out there, but where composites come in is they're a lot more stable than other products like vinyl, you know, over twice as strong as products. So they don't expand and contract like vinyl does, so you get a lot more stability. But one of the beauties that the things that composites offer is the beauty. You know, you mentioned the
you can pay respect to the architecture. You can make it fit in. You can choose colors. You know, all of those kinds of things, right?
Correct. You know, it looks just like wood. You know, you have wood finishes that can be stained or painted if you choose to on the inside, but on the outside, they're completely maintenance free, just like vinyl. You know, it has that property of vinyl. So it's like the best of both worlds. It's like having a beautiful wood window in your home and having a maintenance free product on the outside. So it really is the best of both worlds when you when you look at it that way. Well, you know, and Andersen is such a large brand in the window industry. You know, when Andersen chose to come up with this replacement window division, Andersen said, how do we come up with a window that not only has the benefits of low maintenance and ease of use and energy efficiency, but also maintains the integrity of the Andersen brand. It looks beautiful in the home and like you say, pays respect to the architecture of the home. And that's really what Andersen did when they made the investment to bring Renewal by Andersen to life. Anyway,
Eric, thanks so much for coming in. This is Renewal by Andersen of Eastern New York. I got it right, didn't I?
Correct. Yeah.
I did get it right. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
And Eric is the president and CEO. So if you're considering replacing windows in your home, you know where to go. Eric, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.